Good evening, everyone. Um, we are running this video tonight from our house in the Villages because I forgot to turn on the recording for the creation of prayer beads. So I'm going to introduce to you now my wife, Diane Perrette, who will lead us in the exercise of creating prayer beads. And just give me a minute and she will be right with us. It's Diane.
Hi. So we are going to make prayer beads. And these prayer beads are made from a stone cross, some wooden cubes. Actually, there's 5 of them. 1, 2, 3 at the top of my hand, 4, 5. These round beads are a stone bead. These are a fancy jasper. And in between these black beads are actually glass. They're 4 millimeter. The stones are 6 millimeter. Usually I would use a black onyx, but they didn't have them in 4 millimeters, so it didn't work otherwise. And so we're going to begin at the end with the cross. And we're going to start by putting a black bead cube, black bead round, black bead cube, black bead. And then that little tiny silver piece is a crimp, because that's where we're going to come around and crimp it. The wire that we're using is a 49 strand wire, and it literally inside this wire has 49 strands. It keeps it very, very flexible. And so we're going to begin with the cross. The wire is about that long. I just leave it long so that nobody has any falling off. And as I said, we're going to start with black bead cube, black bead round, black bead cube, black bead, and then a round, and then a crimp. So I am, do you want to tilt it down to my hand? Does that work? I don't know. Okay, I didn't want to close. Okay, cool. So we have the black bead and a cube, and then the small round black bead and a fancy jasper bead. This one looks a little off. Let me just try this one. Then again, black bead. And I kind of roll them around at times to see where they are. Black bead cube. And then black bead crimp. And at the end, this is going to be the crimp that is going to hold it all together. So as you're looking at it, I'm going to have this little tail end, and I'm just going to double it through all the beads that are there, so that I had the cross, and this is basically just the other folded part when I crimped it, and that's how I held the cross on there. So now I'm going to just put these all through there just to add a little extra reinforcement. And I'm going to actually trim this end off here because this is kind of long. So I'm just going to take this one, take my, so now we have the cross, black bead cube, black bead round, black bead cube, black bead crimp. Now after the crimp, very important is to add a black bead, black round bead. And now we're going to do a pattern that will have 7 round 6 millimeter fancy jaspers. So we're going to have the black bead, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ending with another black bead. And I'm going to start that. Did the black bead fall? It did. So I'll put the black bead back on, black bead, and now I'm just going to make a pattern of just black bead, 6 millimeter fancy jasper, And you could just alternate colors. The fancy jaspers are just really pretty because they have all different shades. It's like my favorite stone bead to work with. So I have 1, 2, 3. Bless you. 4. And making sure I'm doing that space would be the black bead in between 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. And then 6. And then 7, ending with a black bead. So let's see what it looks like. I have the cross. This is the top part. There's a little piece sticking out there. I'll trim that again. And we have cube, the round, the cube. Here's my crimp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are going to put a cube bead and a black bead. And then we're going to start the pattern all over again, having 7 beads again. So here we go. 1, maybe 1, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I just roll these around, and 7. Again, I have the 7. I'll just double check before I go on. So here was that crimp again. We had 7, the cube, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I ended again with the black round bead, and now I'm going to put a cube. And we're going to do it again. 1, 2, move back a little bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Ending with a black bead. And now I'm going to double check that I have the right amount again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to add a cube. And I'm going to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ending with a black bead. I'll double check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I'm going to take my end of my string And I'm gonna just double check it. Because visually you can just see how it should all line up. So that they all match. And I'm going to take my end of my string. I'm gonna loosen this up a little bit. Then I'm just gonna take that one out of there. And where my crimp is, I'm going to put my end of my string that I've been stringing with up back into that crimp, into the black, and then feed it up toward the cross. This kind of adds a little more support all the way through, makes it a little stronger. Especially if it ever comes apart, you don't really lose a lot of beads. And now this one's going really far. Let's see. And I don't need it all the way up, but I'm just going to go right to there. And now that I did that, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to start tightening it all. So I'm going to push these back up here. I'm going to cut this little tail off of it again. It's just hanging down a little too far. And I have my end and I'm going to tighten my beads. This is the way I was stringing before. And this is where I came up through the crimp. And now I came back up and I'm going to pull it nice and tight. And now I'm going to crimp it. I'm going to use a crimp tool that to me looks like an alligator. The back part basically flattens the crimp. The front part folds that flattened part back together. And so I am just going to crimp right there. One direction and the other direction. And voila, it is all done. And you now have a set of prayer beads.
And think about you. And
And
next week, we will talk about how to pray with your completed set of prayer beads. God bless be with you, and we'll see you next Thursday at 11 o'clock. Bye-bye.
bye.
Someplace it says stop recording right down there.
Down here,
Where it says recording, hit stop recording.
security, Chad,
Right there.
right here, stop recording.
Yep,
Bye.
stop recording. Okay, now go over here. No. Over here where it says end meeting for all.